Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to another video from TW White & Sons. Okay, so here we have our MX-30 electric vehicles. This is our full electric vehicle. This is our company vehicle. Okay, this has done 637 miles currently, but that may rise. So this is the Makoto trim level. So the top of the battery presented in Soul Red Crystal with the black roof. Now, the MX-30 is our first electric vehicle. Okay, and when Mazda set out to make it, they didn't set out to make a car with a huge range. Yeah, it wasn't that Mazda can't make a car with a big range. Of course they can, but when this car was launched, it was the first electric vehicle you could get for sub £30,000. That was, of course, with the government grants, etc. Because a lot of the costs are the size of the battery. So if Mazda put a huge battery, costs go up. And then also you've got to look at production, the trade-off in terms of the production, the disposal of these batteries versus the environmental impact. Yeah, so all these things are taken into consideration. So with some of the materials used, they're like recycled bottles, but you would never know it, bits and pieces. So this was designed to have a range between like 120 and 150 miles, depending on what sort of driving you're doing. Funnily enough, when you're doing city driving, so more start-stop driving, you'll get more of a range because you've got regenerative, I can't say that, but you know what I mean, braking. So I'll show you when we get inside. You've got paddles on the steering wheel. Instead of braking, you can play with these paddles, and it sort of takes it into a lower gear, and it will charge the battery. Very, very clever indeed. So you're not wasting energy. So that kinetic energy that would normally have been lost is being harnessed, I suppose, and then charging up the battery, a bit like a dynamo, like I had on my push bike many years ago. There you go, I've revealed my age. But yeah, so they set about it to be, you know, in terms of production, in terms of, look, it's not going to take forever to charge up, you know, it costs a fortune to charge up, you know, it costs a lot to run, to buy. That was the sort of ethos behind the MX-30. And I must say, people are very much focused on range, and I was getting sort of range anxiety, but you've just got to change the way that you think. Okay, it's a bit like, you know, driving around. I mean, I had a car, it's got a 95 litre fuel tank, it cost 150 quid to fill up. Do I always fill it up? No, but I did the other day because fuel prices were going climbing, and I thought, well, I'll fill it up. I'll fill it up before they go up any more. Therefore, I only really drove around with sort of £40, like a quarter of a tank of fuel. So you kind of got to look at it like that. And do I need 600 mile range? No, I don't. Do I need a 400 mile range? No, I don't. I literally, most of the time, it's going to make me sound really sad, drive to work and back. And on the days that I will do a longer journey, for example, I went to Brighton the other day, it's kind of an 80 mile round trip for me, I took a different vehicle because I put the bikes in. So I'm trying to sort of explain this car is like a city, I would say, a city dweller's car. This would be a perfect second car. You know, the car you'd use to maybe do the school run, pop to the shops, do your shopping in, that sort of thing. Okay, or it could be your one car, you know, if you lived in the city, for example, you know, and if you were to venture out, you know, you'd perhaps get public transport. But that's my sort of way of thinking. So I think this car is a little bit misunderstood. Now, in my experience of electric vehicles, this, in terms of the drive and the build quality, is far the best, right? And you're probably thinking, oh, of course I'm saying that because I'm here working at a Mazda dealership, which I have done for 21 years, and I'm probably just naturally biased. Well, I try to be as impartial as possible. Now, we have a car called a CX-60. First launch as a plug-in hybrid, then as a diesel. People go, why Mazda making diesels? Anyway, that's another topic. Our first customer to buy one had a Tesla, and no ordinary Tesla. It was this super duper one, sports Tesla, and I was dead curiosity got the better of me. I thought, I've got to drive this car. And I went out and I drove it, and it was the quickest thing I've ever sat in my life. I don't think a plane would take off with such velocity. However, the build quality was absolutely awful. There were literally bits falling off it when I went to photograph it, like I'm doing today. Bits of trim and stuff. So I had heard that, but I wanted to see it for myself. Okay, which I did. And I did ask the gentleman, because he was actually a lapsed customer of ours a few years ago. I said, why are you coming out of this? He said, well, I don't like the build quality. He said, if I want to fold my mirrors in, like going down a country lane, I've got to go on this sort of big iPad thing in the middle of the screen. And he said, and in the winter I only get 180 miles. And I was shocked, because in the winter I've never known anyone to get less than 100 miles in this. So all these cars with these big ranges, whether they do it or not, I don't know, but I'm just using that as an example. Yeah, but if I was given the option of having one of these as a company vehicle, currently I'm not on the company car scheme, this doesn't work out well in terms of benefit in kind, I would jump at the chance, because this would be the perfect car for me to get to work and back in traffic, 15 miles each way. It would just be ideal. And I'll be honest, I'll be doing my part for the environment as well, if you really want to consider that. Now, remember what I was saying about build quality. Mazda's build quality has really moved forward over the last few years, and it certainly shows in this. I think these were the recycled materials here. This was some sort of recycled plastic. The cork symbolises Mazda's factory was originally a cork factory. There you go. I was worried about how it would wear, but I've seen cars that are 3 years old now, two years old now, wear very, very well. I think all the seat material is recycled material. Look at the thickness of that door there. Now, I think these doors are quirky. Let's call them quirky. Now, would I use the back seats? Not that often. That'd be a bit of a party trick, opening that door, I think. Does it make it easier for people to get in and out? Well, of course it does. Look at that. You'd have to be very slim or agile to get in and out of there. So this is 5-seater or a comfortable 4-seater, but really, as I say, this would be an ideal second car for somebody or a city dweller. Oh look, you've got the sunroof as well. But that's my honest opinion. This isn't Mazda's opinion. This isn't out of a Mazda textbook. This is me giving you my take on it. Look at that there. You've also got a 3-pin plug. How about that? USBs, 12-volt socket, all very nicely put together. And I do like this sort of floating, it's not floating, but it almost looks it, centre console. Okay. So I could get to work, how many times on this? I could do 1, 2, so that's 1 day's 30 miles, 5 days a week. Yeah, I mean, one charge. One charge, and of course I wouldn't be charging this at work, but one charge would do me a week's worth of driving. And I'm told it works out about £6 a charge. Now, I don't know, I was told that from a colleague's mother who has one. I don't think so. Let's say £10 a charge, some special tariff overnight. But you must admit that is cheaper than driving to work in your combustion engine car. Now, I like combustion engine cars. I'm not one of these, no, everything's going electric. I don't think it ever will. But I do think cars like this have a place in the market. And I think this is a very underrated car. Okay, and I'm not saying that because I'm biased. That's my honest opinion. Now, you've got fast charge and slow charge capability. I think fast charge is about an hour, up to 80%, and slow charge is about 5 hours overnight. But you can put it, plug it into your 3-pin plug at home, and that's an overnight. Yeah, that's an overnight charge. Now you've got a really decent sized boot. Oh, looks a bit untidy with this cable here, but there is a nice bag to store it in. We just haven't done that. And you've got, look, the Bose speaker in the back there. It's got a very good sound system. Reverse camera, sensors front and rear, side camera, all very, very good. Bose stereo, electric seat up front with memory. I've just previous to this photographed and videoed a Volvo XC60. It's like a £41,000 car, and that's when it's 3 years old, so I think it's probably £55,000-60,000 new. Must say, this has got, I would say, the same, if not better, build quality, and this is better spec. Okay, so foot on the brake, press this button here. I was going to say she bursts into life, but you don't hear anything, you just know from the dials that she is on. Now, it's got a 96% charge, and it says here 122 miles. Now look, I'll show you something. If I put the climate control on, am I doing something wrong? I'm going to sound really silly here. Oh, I expected that to go down, but it hasn't. Right now. So I'll put the heater on, full blast. I've got the heated steering wheel, the heated seats, and it went down a mile. So there are ways of conserving energy. It's almost like a bit of a game, you know. Now the reason, normally, in the past, when I've turned the air conditioning on, or the heater on, the range will come down just a little bit, yeah? But what I learned was, if I get the cabin to the temperature I want, and then I use the heated seats run off a different battery, which won't affect your range. And it means you don't have that dry air. So I think I thought it was a good thing to do, and it's something I used to play around with when I used to use these cars more often. Now, you've got rake and reach adjustment on the steering wheel, so you can get nice and comfy. You've got LED lights, which are super efficient, obviously very important with a car like this, but also efficient in terms of you can see everything. You can see more in the dark than you can during the day, if that makes sense. You've got your heads-up display, you've got automatic wipers, you've got a brilliant Mazda sort of MZD Connect system, which is basically your reverse camera, 360 camera. Look at that, that's why I'm so square on here. Telephone, entertainment, Bluetooth, smartphone apps, so it's got CarPlay, you know, really, really good. But also something that's extremely important is safety and driver assistance, radar cruise control, so it's adaptive, it'll track vehicle in front. Safety alerts, front cross traffic alert, if you're coming out of a parking space or your driveway or you're reversing out, it will warn you, which is fantastic. It will warn you if you depart from a lane without indicating. Different alert types. This one's on vibration, blind spot monitoring, so a light will light up in the wing mirror should somebody overtake or undertake you. So it's a really functional car. And I'm being really honest, and you can probably tell by the enthusiasm from my voice. And I think it's misunderstood, which is why I get a little bit upset when people don't sort of consider all aspects, you know, especially around the range of the vehicle. Okay, so this car was registered in like April. It's done 637 miles. We actually lent it to a customer who had a car on order, who lives around the corner from us. He actually has an electric, his wife has an electric vehicle, I think it was a Mini, so he borrowed this, so it's perfect. But he works in the film industry, and he's buying one of the ones with the range extender. He absolutely loves these cars. Okay, so he's only really had one driver. Okay, the car is pristine. Balance of the warranty, of course, balance of the roadside assistance. But if there's any further info, anything I haven't covered off, or anything you need me to explain, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, now we are really big on part exchange. So regardless what you have, please just get in touch. But please do all those things you're heavily encouraged to do these days, and punch your reg number in and all that sort of stuff, and get in touch with us. Okay, we want you to have a seamless, enjoyable buying experience. Okay, so I hope this has been a bit of a different video than I previously do on cars, putting a lot of emphasis on, you know, the background of this car and the range, and, you know, maybe how to get over the sort of range anxiety. So I hope it kind of I've come across well. But if there's anything at all, just get in touch. Okay. So thanks for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Bye bye.